Palestine, oh. Oh yeah, you dey blow my mind, blow my mind, blow my mind. For your love, I go change my life, change my life, change my life. Yeah, come here, let's make us spend it. Dirty white for me, nice. So many nights I dey wait for matter to get you all alone for one night. You do me something no lie, I go mad for your type. I want to do you whatever you want, freaky for you. Show me what you're into, girl. You just did blow my mind. With your boo, I can vouch for my crew. I'm telling you, and to they do lifestyle of a crew. Make you dance, look they look, then go they look, then go they look. And say if it's not enough, if I do 99 good, it go remain one. Don't know how to show you my love without fucking up, but I can buy you a new baby, straight from made you love.
Alright, so good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. And once again, we're live from the European Police Youth Club, youth-oriented radio, not my radio, but your radio. In studio this evening, we have Mr. Karl Muckette. And of course, he comes from the youth organization Radius, and he's here to discuss his experience in youth advocacy and upcoming events. Also in studio, making her unprecedented first time appearance on the Men's Motivational Monday program, we have Abia. Our DJ tonight is DJ Jerry K. Listen to the sweet songs and we begin the conversation very soon. Remember, it's not my radio, but your radio, youth-oriented radio, and of course we're live from the European Police Youth Club.
You won't capture my
And of course, tonight we have some giveaways. The radio team is having their fundraiser retro steam party, and we have a couple complimentary tickets. Just tune in for a chance to win.
Pour at the bottle, I wanna level up. When I'm with you, I never get enough. Slow wine, I'm not in a rush. I can hear music when you're here. Tonight we're rolling, party till closing. Since I put the ring on the finger, it's still frozen. Love in slow motion, I wanna feel you over me, yeah. Certain magic in your eyes, yeah. Girl, I love the way you ride it. And it happens every time you arrive, that's right. Girl, I want you in my life, yeah. There's a heaven and it's right, yeah. I will never leave.
Once again, remember, it's not my radio, but your radios. Tune in for chances to win tickets to the Retro Steam Party, brought to you by Radius. And this takes place on the 30th. It will be Steam. Alright, so we'll be talking a little bit about that Radius party in tonight's segment. As well as the work he does with youth. He's a very big advocate for our youth. So we'll be discussing that in full. Remember, it's not my radio, but your radio, youth-oriented radio. And of course, we're live from the Orapun Police Youth Club.
Baby, gon' give me your lo 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 lo. You got me like whoa 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 whoa. Shawty gon' give me your lo 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 lo. I see this fine girl from my party, she wear yellow. Every other girl they do too much, but this girl mellow. Now in my divine situation, I go use they tell I'm mellow. Finally I find way to talk to the girl, but she ain't no one follow. When you gonna phone for one? When you know I come for one? Then I start to feel a bum bum one. But she dey give me small small one. I know say she's a bit pass it down one one. But she feeling insecure one. Cause her friends could they come my light ring go. Could they come my light ring go. Baby calm down, calm down. Yo this your body, it puts in my heart for lockdown, for lockdown, for lockdown. Yo you feel like phantom, phantom. If I tell you say I love you, you know.
So without further ado, let's start the conversation. Once again in studio, we have Mr. Karl Muckette, who I had the pleasure of meeting about a month ago, and I was very, very impressed with what is taking place with his Radius team. We were able to experience, well, not for the first time, but for the first time for a lot of our youth club members, one of his initiatives which spoke of action and consequences, where some of our young people had the opportunity to visit YTC, right? And it was, of course, a memorable occasion. So we'll get to that part of it at some point in the program. In the meantime, I'm going to introduce to the world, well, at least say your radio family, Karl Muckette. So welcome, good night.
Good night, your radio audience and all of Trinidad and Tobago. Happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
All right, so I think we'll start with who is Karl Muckette? Who is Radius, right? Everybody like to know the genesis, what inspired you, who you are, what inspired you to get involved in the experiences that make you determine that, hey, I think youth advocacy is for me, right? So let's say the Karl story, so to speak.
The Karl story. Right. So this story can go in several directions. But so my background essentially is corrections. I spent a couple of years in the prison service as a prison officer at YTC.
Right.
And I think my experiences through the years, I get this sense that if persons understand some of the challenges that young persons encounter in their own upbringing, they may be a little more sympathetic as well as empathetic to the young person. So based on that, I made a decision that I would spend some time looking into the plight of young persons, the plight of parents and things like that, and attempt to structure a business using what is called social entrepreneurship.
Right.
Right, using that social entrepreneurship model, and just try to focus on young people's issues and challenges and how we could work together to bring solutions.
And what have been some of your challenges in this field so far? But the thing is, all right, if you have to choose a challenge, which challenge you think is the most difficult in terms of the hurdles you have to face?
I think we have a lot of challenges, and the challenges come from different areas. When you look at the home is a challenge. When you look at the community is a challenge. When you look at the school is a challenge. We may not necessarily want to hear it, but when you look at the church is a challenge. Right? When you look at the systems and the structures we have in place to support young people, they themselves leave a lot to be desired in a lot of instances. And we could talk about that. But to answer your question directly, to me one of the biggest challenges is the fact that you would have conversations with young people. And the conversations would make sense to you and it would make sense to them. But right after having that conversation, these young people will go back and engage in the same behavior that create problems for them. If I had to choose a superpower, it probably would be to take out what's inside my head and put it inside a young person's head and cause them to think different about the situation and perhaps to behave differently. I think that's a major challenge here, getting young persons to really do the things that we need them to do.
But it's not always how it was though. When we were young, we didn't listen much to the elders, and the same way people of today see us as cramping their style, jumbling them, so to speak. We saw the elders back then as doing the same thing.
Yeah. But the difference now, you see, in the formation of personality, right? The things that we were susceptible to long ago, the things that they are susceptible to now, they're much more severe. Much more severe. So, for example, 24 hours a day you have access to whatever content you want to consume as a young person.
Alright, and I get you, but whose fault it is that these children have 24 hours a day access?
Well, it's nobody's fault.
Really?
Yeah, it's nobody's fault really. It definitely can't say it's the parents' fault.
Why not?
Because dependent on your age,
right,
you have access to a device. Long time, a device like this, who would have this? Somebody like James Bond or something.
Right, and yes.
This have more.
So right.
12-year-old. Let me just make this point. The average 12-year-old right now have access to more information than NASA had about 50 years ago.
I agree.
They have access to more information now than President, let's say Reagan had a couple of years ago.
I think
they have access to more information.
I think there's a kind of misunderstanding. I understand that they have more access to information, right? But the challenge is, why do they have it 24 hours a day as a child? I could say we as adults have access to information 24 hours a day. This is a device. So it's supposed to have our own switch and our own switch. Right? So when I ask you, who's to blame that a child, a 7, 8-year-old, 12-year-old has a device 24 hours a day? You said we couldn't blame the parents. Right? And
I maintain that position for a number of reasons. Because sometimes parents parenting. Sometimes we have good parents, sometimes we have bad parents, sometimes we have parents with different kinds of challenges
values
that they're dealing with. And for example, if you have a father who is a father to different homes, you can't be in 2 homes at once.
Right.
And if you have a mother who is trying to make it work in terms of finances for the home. Then you have an unsupervised child, or a child that less than supervised, or you have a situation of what is called parentification, which means that a sister looking after a younger brother, or a brother looking after a younger sister. So you have a number of challenges that could move together and create that difficulty in terms of parents managing that situation.
Right, I agree.
Yeah.
But something I always say when I lecture, if it was God's will that children take care of it themselves, like snakes, we just crawl out the egg or crawl out a womb, and we on our own from go. Right? The mere fact that it takes us literally 25 years to mature in terms of our psyche or psychology, it means that God knew what He was doing when He gave us parents. I think one of the main issues is, from where I said my experiences, there were always parents who were missing, were absent, was on their own, but back then, someone would take charge and take responsibility of that child. Even if it had to be the proverbial village.
Yeah.
Right, but now we reach a point where nobody cares.
Yeah.
Where we have become selfish as a society, and in that selfishness lies the demise of our youth. Right, so for example, we couldn't wear our pants on our bottom and walk up on the road. I am certain that in a 3-kilometer radius, at least 20 adults would have told you something. Would have told you something when we were growing up. Hey, we'll say they're your curse. By the time you reach home, we had no cell phone, as you rightfully say. But I promise you, by the time you reach home, your parents, guardians don't know you curse out the road already. Right? So we always had the ability to communicate. So it's not an issue of communicating. The issue is now that even parents are so caught up in ourselves that we don't have time to parent properly. So even if we have the availability to not have that child with the device 24 hours a day, we just couldn't be bothered. And then we say we're tired. Right? But yes, the demands are much higher today in terms of financial demands and so on. So you really have to work for the staff, but there should be provisions in place to ensure that we protect them.
Yeah, I think it's too difficult something to go after.
Yeah.
It's too difficult, and perhaps impossible. Impossible is the word I might prefer to use rather than too difficult. And it should not necessarily be the focus. I think what we have to try to get right is to recognize that the personality of the child. So if we want to just go into a little bit of academia here,
right?
Let's talk about Freud. Go back
Sigmund Freud,
as far as
yeah.
Freud,
Yeah.
and Freud talks about 3 aspects of the personality: the id, the ego, and the superego.
Right.
And the id is the instinctual drive. I want to do what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And the ego is the ego says, you know what, you want to do what you want to do. But if you do what you want to do,
there's a consequence.
There are consequences. And then the superego would say, well, this is the way that we do things.
Right.
This is how we do things. This is our
Structure,
way of doing
order,
this. This is the structure. This is the order where we look after each other. This is how we behave. Now, if we don't appreciate certain things in our home, if we don't appreciate certain things, then what the child would be absorbing would be consistent with the absence of boundaries or certain liberties that perhaps they are not responsible enough to have access to, so to speak. So the things that they want to do because they think that they can do it.
Right.
In the home, they're not absorbing that kind of responsible behavior in the home, so they think that they can do it. So when you go to a different space and somebody has a different value system and says to you, well, you can't behave this way.
Right.
You that's foreign to you. Why can't I behave that way? Because the super ego, which is the upbringing that I have, which is supposed to control me from doing what I want to
Told me it's okay.
and didn't restrict me, restrain me in any way. So now when in the school, I choose to behave how I want to behave, and a teacher is now saying to me,
You
behave
can't
this
do
way.
this. Yeah.
And what do you mean behaving this way? I can behave in whatever, because what I want, I get. Because my instinctual drive has not been governed
by your value system
in the home.
Correct.
So and the point I'm making is, if we could get parents to start having the right kinds of conversations with young people from a very early age, start having parents having the right kinds of conversations, and then we have a nice team between the teachers, between the churches, between persons in community. Now we get that concept of the village raising the child.
Because there'll be consistency.
There'll be consistency.
And it starts at home.
It starts at home.
Yeah.
Right? Something I always say, and I really, really agree with that point.
Yeah.
I like the way you tied Sigmund Freud perspective into it. But I would say that, I'll give you an example. Initially, Oropun started with persons from the working class, police officers, national security, military, and so on and so. Seeing young people on the road with marijuana it wasn't something that we'd see often. Then changes came, and you had people coming from other walks of life and so on. And instantly, the people from the working class started criticizing them, and you. And how I broke it down is, since this child was a baby, went for morning walks, daddy had a stick of marijuana smoking. So that has already been, as you said, taken in by the superego as something normal, as a norm, right? Acceptable behavior.
Yeah.
And after 7, 8, 9, 10 years of that, you are here of that programming. You are here telling me that this is unacceptable, and it leads to confusion in the child's mind. Of course, that confusion now, because they are very vocal. It's not like long time when they just do what the adults say. They're not afraid to question why this generation. There will always be some level of conflict, right? So you're right. I think we as adults don't network as much as we ought to.
And we think we do.
But we don't.
No, and that's it.
Yeah.
So we think that we're working as a team.
Yeah.
But we may be working as a set of individuals, each person attempting to do their part. So for example, the Police Youth Club would be doing their part, and they're doing their part in support of creating caring and responsible young adults.
Right.
But they're doing their part consistent with what they believe their mandate is, and what they believe their mission is.
Correct.
And what they believe their vision is.
Yes.
That's what they're doing. And then you might have the home, which the parents just doing. Well, there's no school.
There's a laissez
that teaches
faire.
how to parent.
Correct.
There's no school that teaches.
Trial and error is what most of us learn by.
Yeah.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
So, if the Police Youth Club and the parents working as a team, they would now be aware of the shortfalls or the shortcomings of each person. What's going on in the home that we can support, we can add value to.
Yeah.
And what we're doing, and the role that as a parent we need you to perform in terms of what we're doing.
Right.
And then of course the same thing with the school.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the churches.
Yes.
But the churches would be concerned with imparting
Spirituality. Right.
Not so much spirituality,
Religion.
but their religious beliefs.
Their doctrines. Their doctrine. Yeah, I agree.
They're concerned with that.
Yeah.
Right? And to the extent that their doctrines are at variance with what's going on in the home, or at variance with what's going on in the school,
Correct.
dependent on the school
Yeah.
and the denomination of the school, then they're not necessarily interested in the best interest of the individual. They're interested in pushing what
Whatever their agenda is,
What
whatever
their
their
agenda is.
yes, and that is so true, right? And even from my experience, as I said, I live all over the place by all kind of people. So I'm a Baptist here, I'm a Catholic there, I'm a Pentecostal so, right? And because of that, as you rightfully see, you're confused, and this confusion can manifest itself in disruptive behavior, right? So you're very right, and as we said, parents, adults in the home, in the best interest of our children, we are not networking as we should, we're not communicating as we should. Each home has a total, each institution has a totally different value system now, right? And it confuses our children, right? When if we had one consistent standard in terms of behavior throughout, these are the rules that apply at home.
That's why I could understand when he says it's impossible.
Yeah.
because I never look at it. This conversation is so good, like in literally 5 minutes, my mind opened to things that I wasn't even aware of. Because I would have understand where Mr. Greenidge was coming from, and that was just like,
that's
right?
Yeah.
But when you draw the point that you drew, I was like, I never
Watch it like that.
I never watch it like that. So conversations like these are so important.
Yeah.
You see, here's something that we don't necessarily pay attention to, right? And I would always say it comes back to the personality of the child and how the personality of the child is formed, right? So, let's say we have some sort of difficulty between a husband and a wife, or a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and that difficulty plays out in the presence of the child. The child might be young, but it's forming the child's personality, how the mother responds to the father, how the father responds to the mother.
And how to treat with conflict.
How to deal with conflict.
Yeah.
So, if the mother is disrespecting the child, the father, and the child picks up on that, it's okay for me to disrespect my father.
Gosh, I think this conversation had to happen.
And sometimes
I'll tell you
when the child disrespects the father, a little later on, the mother say, you look for that, and that is because, so she kind of supports and endorses that kind of
enables the behavior,
and vice versa.
Yeah.
And this is creating the personality construct of the child.
Correct.
So I've seen where my mother is disrespecting my father is disrespecting my mother, and now you telling me don't be a disrespectful individual.
Children learn what they see. Children learn what they see.
Even so, in some instances, where we had corporal punishment. So corporal punishment is pointing me in a direction. If you're doing something that I don't approve of,
I could beat you.
Yeah, I can use
violence.
force, I can use violence,
Yeah.
I can use violence.
Yeah.
Because I see it in the home.
Yeah.
And they don't have the schema or the maturity to embrace, no, this is a form of restraint that we're putting in place to protect you from yourself.
Yeah.
They just see that I use force and I get my way.
So if I use force, I will get my way. And that is so
way.
true. I remember just today I was talking about it. I credited corporal punishment for making me the man I am.
Yeah.
Right? And the cycle is so dread that because I credited for making it the man I am, I now decided that it is the means I would use with my children. Well, that is my child. And my eldest daughter was very rebellious. Very, very rebellious.
Yeah.
And what we don't understand about corporal punishment is it's progressive. So it might start with a flick, and the behavior is repeated, and then you go harder and you go harder, and before you know it, you're choking the life out of your teenage child, whatever the case may be. And I remember reaching that extreme, not choking, but doing something. And I realized, hey, I need help. And I would have gone to the ECP at the time was Miss Sharon Blake Clark. ECP Sharon Blake Clark, and I told her, Mom, I can't continue like this, I will end up in trouble.
Yeah.
And well, she advocated for me to go on several courses to ensure that I get the information and the support I need to do better. And when parents come here now and they talk about corporal punishment, I say, how is it working for you? Well, it's not working, the child still, I say exactly, it does not work.
Yep.
And we now have a generation that's so rebellious that before they do something, I guarantee them make up their mind that all I gain for this after is licks.
Yes.
Right? So they'll make up the mind for the consequence.
But even in myself, because I'm not that old, but I used to literally make up my mind, do something and know I go and get licks.
I used to make up my mind I would do whatever it is I get licks. So imagine. So and they have much more tenacity on us, they have more information on us.
Yeah.
And the reality is they believe, which is true, they have more rights than us.
And not only that, so in the past, they used to say corporal punishment was a specific deterrent.
Right.
Sorry?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Was a specific deterrent. So if you do something wrong and I beat you,
Right.
I would deter you from doing that going forward.
Repetition, yeah.
Right. And it was a general deterrent because if I have a brother or a sister and they see I get licks for doing whatever,
They ain't gonna make the same
they're
mistake.
not going and do
Make
it.
the same mistake.
But if that did work, then perhaps you might have beat your children once or twice.
Yeah.
Or for
But the mere fact that we repeat.
you have to over and over and over, and as you say, I develop intolerance to this licks. So this licks is beginning to do me nothing.
Yeah, desensitized.
But not only that, the fact that you feel you beaten me, and I looking like the licks is doing nothing to me. Then you feel you have to beat more.
Worse, yeah.
And I feel it's doing nothing to me. Then I begin to feel, well, this person can't love me. This person can't care about me. This
Because
can't
they're
be
going,
my
and I
mother,
think
my
that
father.
that's what happened with my daughter and I.
And not only that, when I reach a certain stage and I feel like you could hit me and I could hit you back. When I reach that stage, you could hit me, I could hit you back.
That is when real conflict starts,
Exactly.
right? That can lead to even more extreme stuff.
Yeah.
Something you was saying, would it be a fair statement to say that once the home, the parenting is done correctly, home, everything else will fall into place, like the school, the teaching, it will make the job easier for the teachers, for wherever the child goes?
I wouldn't agree with it 100%. Right? I think well, you see, the home has its issues.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It has its issues and it's inescapable.
Right.
Because of our family structure, because we have a lot of single parents, we have a lot of female-headed household, we have a lot of step parents.
Yes.
Step parents may not behave as
As a
loving
real parent
as they would.
yeah, as
with-
they ought to. Yeah.
and then the child would pick that up,
Yeah.
right? And so that's one. The child may not necessarily feel that kind of love dependent on the home. The
Right.
child may comply with what is expected of them within the home because of that and what is called direct supervision. The
Right.
direct supervision would cause the child to behave in a certain way within the home.
Right.
But in
When
the
they go
absence
out,
of the parent,
Yeah. What
in
takes
the,
place?
in the absence of the stepfather who behave in a certain way, or in the absence of the father who behave in a certain way, or in the absence of the mother who is behaving in a certain way,
Somebody.
the child would now behave how they really want to behave because there are no controls in place. Now, what we really need to do is try to minimize the desire of the child to behave in a particular way, regardless of who is present. So, in policing, they say crime occurs for 3 reasons. 1, the desire. 2, the opportunity. And 3, the absence of control.
Right.
And it's the same thing with delinquent behavior on the part
Correct.
of a young person. If they don't have the desire,
Then there will be no crime.
there will be no
Right.
deviant behavior.
Right.
Good. You don't have a desire to bully others. So you wouldn't bully persons. If somebody is present, you wouldn't bully them. But in the absence, if you have the desire, you would.
Yeah.
So what the research is pointing us in the direction we have 4 forms of control. One is direct control. Paying attention to the child, always looking after the child to see what they're doing. And if they're doing something wrong, you correct them. You try to deal with it right away.
Right.
That's not going to work because
virtually impossible. It can't be there
impossible.
24 hours
It can't be
a
there
day.
24 hours.
Correct.
Just like with the phone.
Yeah.
Good? Indirect control. I'm telling you this is what you should do and I'm following up to make sure you behave in that way. That's a step up from direct control and it's kind of useful. But it's not where you want to get to. Then the third level of control is internal control. And how do I create the mind where a child doesn't have the desire to behave in delinquent ways?
But it starts from the early stages.
You have to be deliberate.
Yeah.
Internally, I want you to develop a sense of right from wrong. So even if somebody is absent, this person, stepfather, mother, whoever is absent, I will be carrying myself in a responsible way.
Because it's how I was raised.
It's how I was raised and it was intentionally instilled in me. And the 4th level of control, according to the research, is stakes in conformity. That's what the research says. And stakes in conformity says, if I feel that I'm loved, I don't want to behave in ways to disapprove my mother or my father.
Right.
Because they would be embarrassed with the behavior I'm engaging in. So if I have somebody is encouraging me to smoke weed, nah, my mother wouldn't like that. I'm not smoking weed. It's not that my mother is present so I can't do it, or my father is present so I can't do it. They would not approve of that.
And honestly speaking, that's more effective though.
It is.
Right?
But
And
you
than the
have to
actual
be
licks.
intentional.
And it has to start from the formal years of the child. The child must be in a loving, nurturing environment from
Yeah.
onset,
Yeah.
where the child does not go into survival mode or things that they're on their own.
Yeah.
Right? Or anybody that comes to love you after that comes with an ultimate some their own agenda. Right? So this is why it's important as from babies they feel safe, they feel secure,
Yeah.
they feel loved. And when you really my observation is, when you really go back to some of these youths who are in deviant behavior, and you observe the child, the baby, the growing stages they had, a lot of them had a lot of traumatic experiences from them, which of course broke them.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't even know we broke us.
Yeah.
Right? And at some point, these behaviors, the negative behaviors, become a habit, it becomes a lifestyle. And at that point, it's very difficult to break it.
And not just a habit and a lifestyle, it becomes a default mechanism.
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is how I would respond when I feel like if I need
Threatened.
to.
Yeah. Right? So, and you see it in school.
Yeah.
We have an issue where academics is not valued in some of the communities, some of the demographics we work in.
Yeah.
Right? So there are children who can't read. And in school, they may ask to read a paragraph or to do something that is out of their comfort zone because they do not prepare to do that. And of course, you're rightfully said, they will revert to the default. Disrupt the class because I know Miss will put me out.
Yep.
And when Miss put me out, I save face, they don't know I can read. Or at least I tell myself they don't know I can read.
Yeah.
Right? So in everything we do, there's always an underlying issue. Right? And this is why, personally, I believe we had to meet because we understand that we had to get it right at this stage in their lives. Because in adulthood, it's almost impossible to really modify behavior without severe consequence.
But in young adulthood, the child's mind is what you describe as malleable,
Right.
more susceptible
Yeah,
to change.
yeah.
And if we could have the right impact at the right time,
Right.
or we could cause persons to go in different
Yeah,
kinds of direction. And this whole concept of stakes in conformity, it has to do with I developing a belief in myself that I could survive in the way society is structured. Now, as you mentioned, if academics is not a strong point for me, and I don't believe that academics could cause me to earn a livelihood,
Right?
then I'm not going to invest in
No,
academics
no,
personally and
no.
myself. I'm not going to spend much time,
No.
but I still have to live.
Mm.
Now, how else can I live? These persons having a different conversation and saying, hey, you could live by doing X, Y, or Z.
Show the alternatives.
Yeah, and I could do that. And that is social learning theory.
Right.
So social learning theory talks about you must be able to see it,
Right.
but you must be able to model it.
Right.
So I see academics working for people,
Right.
but I can't model it.
Right. So I have to find something
I
now.
see badness working for people, and I couldn't model it.
Because
It's easier for me to model. You see? So they would go in that direction sometimes because of that lack of belief in
themselves,
in the academics. In
yeah.
the academics.
Yeah.
So now my son, let me just say something for my son. I have a son who plays national football.
Right.
My son in national football. He is playing football out of the country right now. Alright? And when he was 7,
Right.
and we playing little football around the place, and I realized that he has the natural ability to play football. I
Right.
started making certain kinds of decisions to
Guide
push
him.
in the direction of football. So I am seeing what he's good at, and I'm trying to find a way for him to get better at what he's good at.
Use it as a career path.
And as we progress and evolve in terms of his skills, now I'm connecting him to opportunities that he could utilize what he's good at.
Beautiful.
Notwithstanding, I'm saying to him, your academics important
Yeah.
because
And
it
it's
connects
basic.
you to opportunities. Right? It's the way the society is structured. If you show up with academics, you have more opportunities than persons who just show up
Don't,
with football.
Correct.
You
Correct.
show up with your football and your academics.
It gives
have
you the opportunity to get a scholarship, to do much better. Yeah.
But at the same time, your football could, if your academics problematic, your football, I have to cause you to believe in your football, to develop your football, and connect it to opportunities where football could give you that kind of livelihood.
Right, but they complement each other though.
They do.
Yeah.
They do, but I don't want you to feel like if you're performing poorly in academics, you can't survive
On the football.
No, you can't survive generally.
Yeah. That gives that sense of hopelessness.
Yeah.
Which now will lead to getting involved in other things.
So
Right, and we see that.
Yeah.
I think,
Stakes in conformity, I can't. It makes no sense me conforming because I won't survive.
Right, so I
But
better,
if I come on this side,
better rebel
Yeah.
and then again children learn what they see.
yeah.
So when we are seeing unemployed graduates and gainfully people who are these purporting that they live in the dream criminals. It begins to look attractive to them.
How much passes you have? You have 5 passes and you work with minimum wage. I have no passes, I'm not sure I
Right?
call it.
Or the boss guy married. The
Yeah.
so-called boss guy married.
Yeah.
And look how he living. Right? So children live what they see, and that is so important. Right? I think when it comes to that, we get in the recipe right here at OPYC, because as I rightfully say, we expose them to almost every and anything. Right? So music theory and practical. But we went through that already. Right? Which speaks of course, using that talent God gave them to get them safely into adulthood where they can be still productive even though they may have a basic education. Right? All right, so we went into theories and so on. Let us talk about.
We can take some calls.
For persons who want to call, you can call 610-2939. 610-2939. And you can tune into the conversation. Remember,
WhatsApp right now,
the WhatsApp is presently down due to technical difficulties. But if you want to call in, you can feel free to do so. As I said, the number is 610-2939. Chime in the conversation. Right? Remember, it's not my radio, but your radio, youth-oriented radio. And of course, we're live from the Open Police Youth Club. We see Lesedi peeping in the studio. Good night, Lesedi. And there she goes. All right. So in the meantime, let's talk about who David Muckette is. Give us Karl Muckette. I get Karl David
Somebody just messaged me and say your volume, your mic sounding so.
Which is yours?
Yeah.
On the wall?
Yeah, somebody just messaged me.
Right there.
My mic sounding so.
Which mic, yours?
Yeah, they could be wrong. They could
I
be
know,
wrong.
it should be sounding much better now.
Yeah.
Probably was hearing it on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it now? How's it now? The matters?
Yeah, if she may not necessarily respond right away, she just send out
That's right.
809. That's your mic sounding so.
Something was coming off just now. We're trying to move. That's all.
All right, so
Yeah. So, so let me go back. Let me go back. Let me go back some distance. So,
You hear anything?
all right,
I still
I'll
hear
try.
it again. I keep back.
oh no, somebody say mic is good. I hear you clearly.
Right, so only person
Where she
volume.
is, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
So let's go back to I went I grew up in Gonzales in Belmont.
Right,
I went to Gloucester Lodge Moravian School.
all right.
Right, and then I went to Tranquil. Right, when I went to Tranquil, I was the kind of person who would go to school with one copybook and a football in my bag.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents spend money to buy all kind of books, all kind of textbook, but I went to school with a football and a copybook. So that kind of behavior would produce some less than favorable results.
Of course.
I hear in a kind of
Listen,
Go talk. No, I don't know where everybody is. Yeah.
this is the score of a show.
Still hearing it, but try not to move now.
All right, have to. Go ahead.
check 1, 2, yeah. Right, so that kind of behavior obviously would have produced less than desirable results. So I came out of school with 1 pass, which was English. Right, so I just used to have a copybook and a football. Right, and the football used to come out the bag more often than the copybook. Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, so I came out with a pass in English. And then, well, when I came out, I realized that, you need your passes and all that. Because the way society is structured, it says, whatever you show up with determines what you're able to access. And what you're able to access determines the quality of life you would have. So if you show up with nothing, you would access very little, and it would impact on the quality of life that you're going to have.
Negatively.
So I went back and do some studies, and I came up to 4 passes. Right, I did the easiest set of subjects, POB social studies typing.
Modern
you know?
studies,
POBs.
yeah, modern studies.
Yeah, just to get some passes. And then, well, I joined the prison service in 1994, and I eventually got my 5 O levels, and I went to UB,
Right.
and I did my first degree. And strange enough, I kid you not, my experience from year 2 in UB, everything was easy. Everything was easy. All the subjects were easy. As a matter of fact, I graduated with first class honors.
Wow.
And most outstanding BSc student in my year, and got several awards. And the question about that is, how come you finished secondary school with 1 pass?
Not only that, is it that you was not interested in schoolwork
Yeah,
at that time?
exactly.
You was always bright though.
And again,
It must have been that I was always bright, but I had very little interest, and
interest,
I didn't apply myself.
yeah, and it's really didn't apply yourself.
Yeah.
So it all boiled down to application.
Yeah. So when I went to UB, it just felt like, I couldn't believe I was right.
Yeah.
Right? And that's another thing, the passes you get or fail to get give you a sense of your own value. And if we could transcend that and recognize that it's not that we're not bright or not bright, it's that we're not making the best effort that we should.
Should, yeah.
So I went on to do a master's degree. So my first degree was in sport management, and I
Okay.
did my master's in sport for development.
Right.
Now again, I recognized I was bright.
So you're confident now.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I went on to
yeah,
do
that
a
happened.
master's. I was supposed to take 3 years to do the master's. In 2 years, I finished all
the
my
modules,
taught
yeah.
courses, and I just had my thesis to do.
Right.
But you had a little breakup, and sometimes you have a breakup and you feel, like
The world is over.
The world,
Yeah. It's a wrap.
yeah. So I started to behave in a although I was an adult, I started to behave in a kind of way like education overrated, and I don't need a master's, and I don't even know why I signed up for this. And
But is that a sign of depression, no?
I wouldn't say it was as far as depression, but it was a severe distraction.
Oh.
Yeah, losing a relationship that you value is a severe distraction, and of course, some of us have the ability to come out of it and eventually get ourselves back on track, but some persons need more support than others.
Yeah.
That was in 2009. I finished everything for the masters, and I just stopped. And then in 2013,
So what you did between that time?
I was just working on frolicking. Life is life. I was just working on frolicking.
Recovering from the tobacco.
and trying to see how many girls I could
You could use
get,
a recovery, yeah.
how many girls
Recover.
I could get, because I missed out in this serious relationship. You know,
Yeah. So
and now
making up for lost time.
Yeah.
But did it ever,
Yeah.
you ever feel what you wanted to feel between that time?
Did it fill the void?
Yeah. Is
At
the
the
question.
time, at the time, and,
Yes.
and at the moment, it felt that way, and then it began to feel meaningless. Being honest, I wouldn't share some stories.
Right,
about
no,
myself.
don't remember.
But
It's
it
youth
became-
oriented radio.
yeah. It became meaningless
Yeah.
because you started to tell yourself, life has to be more than that.
Yeah.
And what you really gonna
Accomplishing.
leave as what you're gonna leave as the fact that you've been here. How can you be a beneficial presence on the planet? That can't be the answer.
Yeah.
And then, well, in 2013, I got a call from a lecturer at UTT. He has since left, and he wanted to discuss the fact that I was continuing with the masters, and he said that everybody's saying you're so bright and you could do this, and so I said, well, I just choose not to. And he said, as a favor to me, could you do it? Right? He said, I want to have certain MSc students,
Yeah.
and as a favor to me, could you do it? Excuse me. And that's how I did.
In studio.
Yeah. And he said, as a favor to me, just just send me the direction that you wanted to go, so I could get a sense of. And I did some work that was in January. That was in January 2014, and by July 2014, I had completed the entire thesis, the study, everything, the write up, everything, and I graduated eventually with the master's in 2014. And then, of course, well, the next, what seemed logical was a PhD, and I just decided I was going to do no PhD, and then, so you know what, just do it.
Okay.
So the point I'm making is, in long ago, whatever year that was, I finished with one pass. I had one pass, which was a 2 in English. And I didn't believe in my ability to do academics. And then coming through the years, I enrolled and recognized that it's not a question of ability, it's simply a question of applying yourself, managing distraction, and getting the support that might be useful for you to follow through.
Well, what kept you going though? Because so much times, I think from what you said, you went to school and you get one pass, and then you did it, and you see what you get for. Is it that you see, well, yeah, I could do this, kept you going, or?
Yeah, I think my experiences at YTC, because I worked at YTC for about 18 years.
Okay.
And having conversations with these young people to try harder, having conversations with their parents to be involved a little more. Right? I just shared the book with Saj there. I have a book, Parents, the Real Crime Stoppers. And all the research that points in the direction that parents are the real crime stoppers, I actually spent some time looking at it, investigating, having conversations with parents of the children at YTC. One of the misconceptions was the fact that the absent father is responsible for a lot of young persons being at YTC. And when we did the research, we recognized that about 90% of the persons at YTC at that point in time, now YTC have like about 40, 50 persons. Back then it had 220 thereabout.
Okay.
And we realized that 90% of the persons at YTC had a father figure in their home.
Okay.
But the father figure was not necessarily setting the right example.
Positive, it was not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you get to realize that, right? So if he's not setting the right example, I don't have to. He can't frown on me for behaving in a certain way because he's behaving in that
And
way.
again, children learn what they see.
Yeah. So in my efforts to be that kind of light to these young persons, then I keep asking myself, why don't you just, be that kind of blessing to yourself and push yourself in a particular direction and see where that takes you. Yeah. So
how has it been thus far?
In terms of what? How has it been in terms of?
Finishing your degree, doing all accomplishing all that you have accomplished?
Yeah, well, so I believe that, and I always say, whatever you show up with determines what you're able to access, and what you're able to access will determine the quality of life you'll have. So the fact that I am now showing up as a postgraduate person pursuing doctoral studies, it allows you to access more. It allows you to have conversations that might impact in spaces that it's useful for it to impact. Persons may not necessarily listen to you. You may be saying the same thing without a PhD, and you may not necessarily get that kind of reception from persons.
Yeah.
And you have a PhD and you're saying the same thing and persons would readily respond to that. So it provides you with opportunities to do more to the extent that you have the ability to behave in that way. It's not needed, but to the extent that you have it, and you can show up. Yeah, it gives you that kind of opportunity within the workplace. It gives you the opportunity to be taken a little more seriously by your employer, because you're working on yourself such that you can bring more to this space. And the fact that you can bring more to this space means the goals of the organization can now be channeled through you in different ways. So you would get that kind of, persons wanting you to be elevated within this space, etc. But my thing is, and I don't know I just being frank.
Right.
In my workplace, I am regarded as a person who is on top of his game and really contributing. And I make a very good effort. I have a team that I work with, a very small team, and we are doing really good work at UTT, at the University of Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
But to me, what I really want to be involved in, you know, what gives me the greatest sense of fulfillment, or what my passion really is trying to support parents in working with their children, trying to support parents in supporting their children. And my organization, if we could segue into that conversation about radius, Sad, we could segue into the conversation about radius.
Yeah, we can do that now.
Right, so my organization
Right, so I think we should start with the acronym.
Start with the acronym?
Yeah.
Alright, so radius is actually spelled RYDEUS. It's I don't know if you can see it at home. Right? RYDEUS, and it's an acronym for Redefining Youth Development and Empowerment Using Sport.
Okay.
So redefining youth development and empowerment using sport. And when I was doing the master's degree, I was looking at the sport organizations in Trinidad and Tobago, and a lot of the sport organizations had youth development programs, right? Cricket, football, rugby, etc. But you get to realize that it was not really youth development, it was sport development. So they are making sport available to the young persons, and in their own neck of the woods, it was youth development. Alright? But you get to realize that youth development is more. It's more than just making sport available for persons to play. So I was looking in the direction of redefining youth development for the sport organization. So how are we going to get life skills as part of the sport program that you do?
How you make it more holistic?
Yeah. How do you get persons to focus on their well-being? How do you get persons to recognize that there are different dimensions to well-being? Good. And that took me in the direction of radius. I think we will take a little
a break? Yeah. I'll come back shortly. DJ?
I want to know what's up. Your honey pot, my number one in town. If you cooking, I cook up, begin, I cook. Anywhere she enter, baby, they cause casala. Hey, hey. Baby, more. Sweetie, more. Honey, more. Baby, more. African flamingo. Rwanda, Plaku. Waka waka baby, ooh baby, corner baby, and I go tell my mama, and I go tell my papa, and I go tell am say, you be waka waka baby, you be chuku baby, baby sawale, sawale, sawale. Pom pom, iporokotom, ipom pom, iporokotom. I wish I boom boom. Boom boom.
la la. I book you man who wear the suya. Aki alcohol. Me, I want to chop money. I get them plenty. Looking for sexy. I want some pom. She con the pion. Waka baby. Uru baby. Corner baby. And I go tell my mama. And I go tell my papa. And I go tell him say, you be waka baby. You be chuku baby. Baby sawale. Sawale. Sawale.
Sexy love, what she need from a bad boy like me. Yeah. Sexy kiss is the thing that she ain't for my lips. Yeah. Mask herself is the only air that she breathes. And when I look into her eyes, I know that she can never get enough of me. Your body high me like lean. When we do it, so snip skin. And as the rush they increase, I feel the drip in her your Shorty say she feeling so. She grab my neck and she whisper please. Shorty give me that splash from my chest to my knees.
This one I better do with the jabata. Me, I no get time, I did da ba da. Dada cover my face, calling me la ba da. Biggie man, we know they wear a ba da. Tell me, what's it come? G-Wagon, all the Bentley, the Captain, ride the whip. I no feet, die for nothing. What's it come? G-Wagon, all the Bentley, the Captain, ride the whip. I no feet, die for nothing. Make you no say anything when you do, they must commend it. I can't come and keep myself. So anything when you do, I try to do on my way. I can't come and keep myself. Plenty so far we face. Just to make sure money day. But my people then go say I know one.
So while we're on the break,
I know one payment. I want enjoy.
Just keeping you updated.
I want buy motor. I want build.
Remember the Open Police Youth Club has its Money in the Pot football tournament April 5th. Money in the pot. Each team walks with $500. Winner takes all. So bring out the teams if you really feel you're the baddest team in the land. Let's see what you do. Money in the pot, 7-a-side football, April 5th at the Open Police Youth Club grounds. It's going to be epic. Of course, there'll be food, drinks on sale. Remember, it's a fundraiser so that we can continue doing the things we're doing. Also, we have on Friday the 18th, Good Friday, our under 12 7-a-side football tournament. $10,000 in cash and prizes to be won. So again, we're asking you all to bring out the under 12 teams. Let the children have their time with, of course, an opportunity to win a cash prize. On August 2nd, we have the Cheers to Life Emancipation Edition. Brunch, all eats inclusive. You walk with your coolers, and there's a prize for the best African wear. Sexiest African wear. Remember, it's not my radio, but your radio, youth-oriented radio, and of course, we're live from the Oropun Police Youth Club. We want to congratulate our Lions and Clubs played in the Ministry of Sports, I True Sport Tuna Puna League on Saturday. Both teams came fourth, but we were still able to grab some awards. We got the award Rickeel Phillip receiving for the tournament MVP. He also received the trophy for most goals. And we have Emmanuel Lord Victory receiving the award for the best goalkeeper. So clearly when it comes to football, even though we didn't place in the top 3, we're doing something right at the European Police Youth Club. Lions Den. Once again, it's youth-oriented radio, not my radio, but your radio. Our Lions are seeking players in all age groups. So if you feel you have what it takes to enter the Lions Den and become a Cub or Lion, tomorrow is your opportunity, 5 p.m., to come and get your screening in. So now we're going back to Mr. Karl Muckette, where we're going to talk a little more about Radius and of course the upcoming steamy event. Retro Steam. Of course, where the old school meets the new school. So let's go, let's get it. All right, Carl, so we were talking about the Radius group.
Yeah.
And of course, what you all do. Yeah.
Right, so essentially, well, I just told you of the acronym there, Redefining Youth Development and Empowerment Using Sport. We work with organizations that work with young persons,
Right.
particularly through sports. So you have sport teams and they would be doing the sport skills part of it, and we would support with life skills, we would support with improving academic performance, we would support with preparation for the workplace, right? There are certain things that we try to focus on every year. For example, in January, we have a personal development workshop that persons can enroll in, parents can enroll in.
Right.
In the personal development workshop, we try to plan the year, the next 12 months,
Right.
setting specific goals, identifying certain aspects of our lives that we want to improve, and within the next 12 months, we're going to tackle them, we're going to try to make that kind of improvement. So that happens in January. In February, we do a youth symposium. And in the youth symposium, we try to bring universities, we try to bring organizations that, we try to connect young persons to those organizations that could allow them to prepare for a promising future.
Right.
So the last youth symposium, and you guys attended, we had several universities. We had UWI, UTT, Caribbean Nazarene College, we had Serval, we had MIC, we had
EGAD.
yeah, well, those were the universities, and we had several organizations as well. We had the police, we had the defense force, we had the prisons, we had Ministry of Education, student support services,
Right.
right? So we had those organizations, right? And what we try to do is, we try to have GATE there, because there are a lot of programs that GATE that
Gate
are
approved.
GATE approved,
Yeah.
that a lot of persons don't know about. For example, there's a DJing program, there's a massage program, there's a beauty program. So there are programs that GATE support that persons are unaware of.
Really.
So we try to connect persons with the information that they can make certain kinds of decisions. How do you get into UTT, the kinds of programs there? How do you get into UWI, the kind of programs there, etc.
Right.
Alright. We had a nice presentation done by the Commissioner of Prisons.
Yes,
He
yes,
delivered the
yes.
feature
Most
address.
impressive.
Right, they have a very nice presentation there. So that's in February. So in January, we work with the parents in terms of personal development. In February, we do the youth symposium.
Right.
In March, we do an event. So what we try to do is, everything that we do would cost money.
Right.
And we do.
Believe me, we know.
Yeah. And one of the things we try to pride ourselves on doing is not asking the government for money. And why we do that is because the kind of things that we want to do, the way we're stretching ourselves and extending ourselves, the things that we want to achieve, there's no way we can repeatedly go to the government and ask for support.
Yeah, I agree. Must have some level of sustainability.
Yeah. So we do 3 events a year, party type events,
Right.
and we encourage parents to support the parties. We encourage persons generally to support the parties, and we try to have the parties at a certain caliber, a certain level where the general public would say, hey, this is a party that I would enjoy.
Yeah.
So we do that in March, we do it in July, and we do it in November. So those are 3 parties. I'll tell you a little bit more about this party in a while. In April, we were supposed to do a fitness related activity because, and I think we talked about it, the Declaration of PSP in 2007 recognized that non-communicable diseases is the #1 cause of death in Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
7 out of every 10 deaths attributed to lifestyle diseases. So we want to work with young persons such that they can take charge, take responsibility for their own physical well-being.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing a young adult fitness challenge. We're in the process of identifying persons to be involved in that. We're going to be providing training, and we're going to be setting up the National Secondary Schools Fitness Challenge as a means of having young persons involved in looking after their own physical well-being. In May, we're going to have the parenting conference, and we're going to be connecting parents to resources. We have 5 courses at present: improving academic performance, basic preparation for the workplace, avoiding parent-child anger and conflict in the home,
Right.
Avoiding risky behaviors, focusing on delinquency assistance, and the 5th one is not coming back to me now, and it probably would. But we have these 5 workshops that we've developed, and it's on our website. So in the parenting conference, we're going to be taking parents through how they can benefit from these programs on our website. One of the things that we're doing with that parenting workshop is parents are going to get access to the website where the video courses are, and they're also going to get some a book with some crossword puzzle. Now, in order to answer the crossword puzzle, you must have looked at the video.
Mm-hmm.
So you can now tell your child, let's say a child asks you for $2,000 to buy Jordans. All right, you want $2,000
Not
to buy
happening,
Jordans.
okay.
Yeah. or let's say $500 to buy a jersey.
Right, that's all more realistic.
$500 for a jersey.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can now say, if you want the jersey, you have to go on the website. The other course I was trying to remember is substance abuse awareness.
Right.
So you have to go on the website and look at the substance abuse awareness video course. And when you finish that, do this crossword puzzle.
So the crossword confirms that you would have looked at it.
The crossword confirms that you looked at the substance abuse awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So we are attempting to connect parents to the resources that could support them in their parenting efforts, because that's what we're really after. Right? And then we go straight through the year. We have activities all the way through the year. In June, we have Radius Conversations, and Radius Conversations is where we are working with young persons to improve the way they speak and change the things they talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So we're starting it as a university challenge. So we're going to have university students doing a public speaking contest.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we're going to bring it to secondary school, and we're going to see how low we can carry it, even if we could carry it to primary school.
And inter-police youth clubs?
Yeah,
That's
definitely. No, definitely.
You don't have to put that in there.
Yeah. We're also we're in the process of doing some work with juveniles at YTRC.
Mm-hmm.
The female juveniles, we'll look into do the aerobics workshop with them.
Yeah.
And they would now be conducting classes with inmates of the female prison.
So that train the trainer.
Yeah. So they're going to become instructors, and they're going to be developing the programs so within the prison in that lifestyle disease prevention. July is going to be another party. August is couples month. So we're going to have a couples workshop, we're going to have couples game night, we're going to have couples karaoke. Every week in August. Yeah.
DJ here, right? So that falls right on your cut.
How would it show me?
I don't know, I just...
No, like that.
Yes. So
you see what I'm talking about.
September, we're going to have a professional development workshop where we're helping persons in terms of the the KSAOs, knowledge, skills, abilities, and other attributes that would allow the employer to see them in a favorable way. We're discussing that in September.
Nice.
Right? October, we have our retreat where we're gonna just be spending time working on radios, trying to increase our capacity. November is gonna be another party, right? I'm not gonna talk about the July and the November party right now.
Yeah, just it.
Yeah. So basically, that's how we're planning our year. That's what Radius is about. Every month, we're doing something that will either support parents, support young persons, or support persons that work with parents, with young persons.
Alright, so seeing that we're not going to discuss July and November's party, let's talk about is this month, this month, the 30th, March the 30th, Retro Steam.
I got free ticket, man.
Just the name alone.
Wait, but you could ask that question here now.
Right.
What is
So-
the party? What is the party?
Alright, so persons who want to win a ticket, hopefully you will call in and let's hear what Radius means.
But
What does the
comment on the
acronym
YouTube live.
or comment on the live? And
But how-
what does the
The acronym.
acronym Radius stands for?
And you're not eligible to respond if you know Radius personally.
Yes, so staff and persons from Radius, stay out of this, please.
Stand down.
Right?
Stand down.
Stand down. Stand down. This is not for you. Okay?
Damn.
But if for persons listening on, how do they because a couple of things they said they want to be interested in. I think that workout with the schools, the
Aerobics.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, the aerobics with these schools would be specific to young adults, and it would be a secondary school challenge. But definitely, you can be involved in the training if you like.
No, well, my daughter could be in the. She goes to Tranquil.
Yeah. Okay. Nice school. Nice
Yeah.
school.
Alma Mater, you know, so she inside already. Right?
She inside. Yeah. Once you say
I want to say
she
tranquil inside.
Yeah. But so every month we just work on one thing at a time, like January.
But how can they get in contact with you?
Right. So they can get in contact with us via the best thing would be to send a message via WhatsApp, and the number would be 392-4948.
Right, you know.
Right, 392-4948.
That's the same number, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
And so they can get involved, but what we normally do things through members. So the members would communicate with their circles, we'd post things in groups, etc.
So it's limited.
It would be.
Yeah.
It would be.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah. It is, but we
You
will
have to
give
have
members dibs if you want
What's
to
the
look at
number?
it that way. 392-4948. Alright. So essentially, members of Radius pay $1 a day to be a member of Radius. So
Okay.
so it's $365 a year. So if you
Right.
want to become a member of Radius, you can just let us know. There's a form for you to fill out, and you would decide. Well, there are different classes of membership.
Right.
So the highest cost for a membership is $365 a year, which is $1 a day.
Right.
And with that, you have access to everything Radius. 3 parties for the year, and you have a Radius card. I don't think I have one on me right now, but you get a Radius card, and you can show up at the event with your Radius card, and up to 5 persons can enter.
Okay.
Right?
That's perhaps we need to get that.
We have
Yeah,
the personal development workshop. You and one other person could attend the personal development workshop in January. We have the youth symposium. You can send 2 young persons to the youth symposium. Everything that we do in Radius, you have access to.
and benefits.
Yeah.
As
So
a
and
member.
it's, yeah, as a member, and it's $1 a day, $365 for the year.
I think everybody should get on that.
Yeah.
Alright, so you can comment on the chat, on the YouTube chat, for a chance to win 2 free tickets to the Retro Steam party. Of course, some of our Your Radio's personality, I personally would be there. And the question is, what does the acronym Radius, RYDEUS, stands for? Right?
I can't remember.
So retro steam is essentially we because we are trying to have parents at some level and children at some level be involved in everything that we're doing. All our events, we have old school and new school DJs. We're not necessarily saying that parents should party with their children,
Right.
but we always have old school and new school DJs. The old school DJs start earlier, and then the new school DJs would come a little later.
Okay.
So for this event, we have
I saw a
Tommy
couple.
Smooda and Nasio. We have Akim 5.0 and DJ Junior. We have DJ Romero and MCZ. And we have Kevin Baker and Beats by Robin.
Okay.
Nice.
So those are the persons we have for this event. It's Sunday, the 30th of March. Of course, the Monday is a holiday and the Tuesday is a holiday, so it's a long weekend. Alright, we start around 10-11 p.m. at the Prison Sports Club and we go till 4 a.m. Okay?
Right in the back.
Okay, so we have an answer. First I need to ask you, do you know a Chantel Ferguson? Because if you do, she's automatically disqualified.
Yes, I do know.
Chantel.
Ferguson.
Is she a member of radio?
I know she would want me to say no, but I do know Chantel Ferguson very good.
I'm sorry, Chantel.
But she still know the answer.
But so the first person to send the answer after Chantel win
two
by
tickets.
default.
2 tickets. Simple.
Right? Two tickets, 2 complimentary tickets to the Retro Steam event. Right? I'm sorry, Chantel. I just had to do it. I had to ask. Please forgive me. Don't hold it against me.
Ask Chantel could win 2 tickets if she say what retro steam means.
All right. So Chantel, bonus question. Right? What does retro steam means?
Yeah, if she answers that, she'll get 2 tickets.
Answer that for a chance to win 2 tickets.
I
To
said it.
I said it?
No,
No, I don't think I said it.
I think the name Alinti, the name would kind of imply what it means. Right? Retro steam. Think about it.
Yeah.
All right. So I wait and Chantel will continue. So here we will sing the DJs.
Yeah, so those are the DJs that I just mentioned.
Right.
Tommy Smooda, who would be coming on from 3 a.m. Tommy Smooda and Nasio. We have Akim 5.0 and DJ Junior coming on around 2 a.m. Kevin Baker and Robin around 1 a.m. and we have DJ Romero and MCZ from 12 midnight. So from around 10, well, persons wouldn't reach there till about close to midnight, but from around 10 we have a house DJ. The system is provided by Diamond Sound System,
Okay, nice.
right, from Locketa. They would be doing the system and we have a house DJ as part of the system.
Any live artists?
No, we have no live artists.
Just
We
music.
want to get there, but
At some point.
we're creeping.
Right, so the biggest dream
Yeah.
at some point, Marshall live.
Yeah, well,
2 hours of Marshall.
You know, I saw an interview today. Actually, have it on my phone right now with a guy called I think it's Stephen Joseph. I think it's his name, but he is Lullaby Promotion, and he does the stage for most of the event. And they were asking him what's the cost of some of the stages he would have done this carnival.
Right.
And he said the stage for experience
Yeah.
was close to $1 million.
Close to $1 million, yeah.
Wow.
You saw that
Yeah.
stage?
$1 million.
Oh, you
Wow.
saw that stage?
Yeah.
That stage was
260 feet.
Yeah.
That
of
stage was big.
stage.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Wow.
I
That's a
heard
big
that
stage.
the decor and stage and everything for Picnic
Yeah.
was crossing $1.5 million.
That's the same. The person from Liverpool.
True. Yes, we wanna big up my batch
She did the
for
decor.
Picnic. Well done.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
see
good
each other.
money.
Yeah. So Chantel responded that retro steam means a unity between old school and new school. Retro steam. Is she correct?
She's halfway there.
Halfway there.
She's halfway there.
Chantel,
I feel like scientist.
Carl wants more meat. He wants more meat. Right, we want to big up my bat Cindy James and her team for that decor. Right, outstanding, out of this world. And it is important
Yeah.
to note,
It was something.
not only is she my batch, and
She was
she is also a resident of Orapun Gardens, Piaco. We're doing big things out there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So eventually we would get there. So there are some persons who would have the drums and the plyboard.
Yeah,
to start with,
like
and
us.
then-
Yeah. Then
Every
Every
year
year,
will be on the drums and the plyboard, but you move from the drums and the plyboard to a little
lighting and digital and
Yes, but I think based on the direction that we're going, because we're not just parties, and that's one of the challenges that we have in terms of segmenting the market.
Yeah.
Persons believe that radius is a party
Organization.
but
That's how you raise funds and everything.
yeah, parties just like
It's just a plus.
maybe it allows us to fund what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
It allows us to. Now we've been in existence since 2009.
Mhm.
And we've been working with sport organizations, working with parents, working with young persons.
And these things are expensive.
Yeah, and we don't, as I indicated, we don't go to the government for anything.
Yeah.
But we have events, we have a rugby team,
Mhm.
and the rugby team, we've been able to do different things. As a matter of fact, my rugby team, the parents will be doing a line just before the event on Sunday.
Right.
The parents will be doing a line
Where
right at the sports club, just
Oh.
before our event begins.
that's
they'll
when
be
they're
doing a line.
putting everything together and so on.
Yeah, but they would be doing their own line. They invite their friends to come and they have their own fundraiser, because one of the things we want to do this year is go to St. Lucia Rugby Sevens, which is the 1st and 2nd of August.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll be doing some activities that would allow us to raise funds. So events, the parties actually allow us to raise funds
Sustain
and
yourself.
keep doing
yeah,
what
yeah.
we're doing.
Try to sustain you.
And we believe that, if we reach the stage where we have 1,000 members, paying $365 a year, that's $365,000 that we have, the quality of event that
Will
we do
improve.
will improve.
Yeah.
And then when it improves, we'll attract more members.
Yeah.
And if we have 2,000 members and we
Create
reach
more
like
impact, yeah. You
half a
understand?
million plus, we could move from the steel drums and the ply
To Marshall.
and we could call Lullaby and say,
Marshall, if you listen to this,
Nah, you will
somebody
remember.
send this in that, Marshall, please.
Can I go to Warwick or something?
Who?
Why you
Yeah,
shoot
why
low?
you-
Shoot
that-
high?
yeah,
Aim high.
aim high.
Aim high.
Yeah, aim high.
What are
You
your
can't
your
aim
Right?
low.
And the reality is this.
You're
Yeah.
really good for 2 hours.
You want to win? You beat Marshall. I don't care what nobody say. Right? And I don't mean it in a condescending way.
Yeah.
He is
The
that, right? He ensures that quality, you get value for money in terms of performances and things. So Marshall, I really trying to sell it here. I hope you have somebody get this to you and you realize that OPYC is in fact one of your biggest fans. Please. Right. Yeah, so I understand, we understand. Look, next year, God's willing, I am already kind of frightened, because based on today's discussion, we want to travel twice next year, right? The Lionesses, we want to take them, which is the netball team. We're going to take them to the Youth Florida Classic next year, Easter, and we just received information about youth tournament football in St. Lucia, right? The good news is St. Lucia don't require a visa, but they still have to raise funds. to
St.
get
Lucia
the-
very expensive.
Expensive, correct.
Very expensive. The
So
tickets-
even though you don't get a visa, the
tickets
traveling,
expensive.
some of them go to New York than
Yep,
to go to some
yep.
of these Caribbean
The
islands.
ticket right now for St.
Yeah.
Lucia is $3,850.
So unless somebody build us an ark, like Noah, right, and we start a roof from now, we really need that.
But you see, here's the thing, we have to begin to, one, tap into the day-to-day behaviors of our stakeholders. And that is to say, for example, everybody eats every day. If you decide, you're eating every day. Everybody eats every day. If you say, every Friday we're going to do a lunch queue or something like that,
Right.
some people will be like, they just had one last Friday.
Yeah,
But
get
you're
fed up with
eating
Every day,
Yeah.
yeah.
and
And they
your
go to buy
children
things.
are part of the
Organization,
youth
yeah.
club,
Yeah.
and you're eating every day,
Yeah.
right? You're partying. You have a party that is coming up and $200 for a
Exactly.
ticket,
And you're there.
yeah,
Make sure you're there.
yeah, because these are things that you normally do,
Yeah.
right? One of the things that I did in the past with fundraising, I used to carry water for my players, and every Friday my players would buy at least one water. You pay about $20, $24 for a case of water, and you're making $120. And that would say about first aid kit, it would say about ice for events, it would say about fruits or even transport.
So there are creative ways.
Yeah, we just have, but again, we have to develop the mentality that we're going to support these initiatives as parents. Right?
I think that's one of the main challenges there, especially with us. Getting parents to support is really challenging to some extent.
These parents would go picnic for $1,300 for the ticket.
Sink under tea. They're everywhere, but to invest in their children, right? Because it brings us joy. I think one of the happiest moments for me in this club was watching the children board the flight to Florida last year, right? If you know me from I got involved in the club. That was one of my Mondays. These children have to start traveling. Traveling changes mindset.
Yeah, it does.
Right? So,
it does. And that, do you believe it or not, that is what the Lullaby guy, he said, he used to sell cell phones. That was his thing, he used to sell cell phones. And he said he started traveling. And when he started traveling and he realized, how things are, he started to
improve.
That expanded
step up. His
thinking.
Because you realize the sky is the limit. Even in Trinidad, right? Again, we like to criticize the youth, but there are children in Port of Spain who has never seen a river. Right? So to them, the world is flat. And if I leave Port of Spain East, I leave John, I leave Beta, I would fall off. Right? But when you allow them, like the children in this club, they have been all over Trinidad. Right? As far as Columbus Way, which is Ikakas. Right? They could walk to Venezuela on a good day. Right? And it was a vomit fest. But that experience of going down there and watching them like Fresh Prince pushing the head out the window and they can't believe it, have all these big houses in Trinidad, was an eye-opener that, there are Trinidadians who are living a particular lifestyle. If we work hard towards it, we can leave the small pond we're in. Right? So much less what international travel does to them. Right? So, to me, that is one of our main aspirations, to make sure they get to see outside as often as they can. Criminals can't get visas, right? Contrary to popular belief. And then with this new guy, I don't call his name, it makes it a little more challenging as well. So, you have to be on top of your game and your best behavior if you want to really create the opportunity for travel. Right? So, once again, we will be supporting that radio.
I think with the events we having too, with the football, we'll be having some recordings too, so you can come. So like we will do short snippets, we'll post them on our TikTok page where people would see, like I'll interview you and ask you certain questions about media and stuff like that on the event.
Once you call, I'm coming.
So again, that event we're talking about is Money in the Pot. Adult Football Tournament, April 5th. Remember that your radio personalities would be there, right? Right? It will be an event to remember. Remember, it's not just about the cash, it's about bragging rights. Walk with your $500, put it in the pot, and the winner takes all. I heard you talk about football, bring a team.
I'll look into it.
Bring a team, right?
I talk about rugby.
Right.
So, rugby. But I do some work with the prisons football.
Right, so that's,
as well.
So even if they could bring their team, whoever wins, it doesn't matter. Money in the pot, all the cash in the pot.
And then we have one on the 18th, which is Good Friday.
Good Friday, our youths come into play on the 12th tournament, up to $10,000 in cash prizes. Right? Usually babies don't get to play for that kind of money. But this is an opportunity now for young clubs to see that yes, there's potential in children playing football as well, right?
I myself as an employee and come and play football.
We want to play the under 12.
No, you see the team.
Bring a team, that's fine, bring a team. Yeah. Right, there would be food and drinks on sale as part of us raising funds. As Karl said, it is very challenging out there to get things done. And, right, you know, we have to sustain ourselves. We have a lot of bills, right? So this will be an opportunity to help, of course, the OPYC family, your radio team, to raise some funds to keep us going, right? So we're asking you all, if you really feel you're the baddest team in the land, whether you're from Grandy, you're from Point, anywhere from, fall into the lands then with your $500 and take the cash at the end of the day. In fact, the trophy would be in the shape of a coal pot. Yeah, we're doing it really traditional so that the money will be placed in the pot. We're not short of a pot cover yet.
No, need a pot cover.
Right? But the money will be in the pot. Right, so Karl, from the day we first had that initial conversation, I was very excited to have you here.
Yeah.
I hope it's not the last time.
Certainly not.
Right.
Certainly not.
Of course, there are a lot of ways we can support each other.
Yeah.
Being involved in youth advocacy, sport, right? And we look forward to continued support, mutual support,
Yeah.
right? As I said, I will make every effort to attend on the 30th. It will be, I'll get a little dandan, a little thing to wear, a little, right? But I will make my best to be here.
Yeah.
Like,
Right,
it's
so-
my birthday, yes.
I'm guessing, well, Chantel made an effort.
Yeah.
So I think she's deserving of the 2 tickets. Chantal, congratulations. Miss Ferguson, you are the winner of 2 complimentary tickets. 2 retro steam on the 30th. Of course, once again, it's Men's Motivational Monday. Live from the Oropoon Police Youth Club. Youth-oriented radio. Not my radio, but your radio. DJ, take us home.
I was just gonna say what retro see me.
All right, before we lock off, Karl has to say what retro steam means. So Chantel, the next time you have to answer, you'll answer a little more accurately. Right? So what does retro steam mean?
So let me say thank you again for the invitation to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to have the conversation with the public, all of Trinidad and Tobago. So thank you very much. And retro means going back.
Right.
Steam means heat.
This.
Hot. Yeah. So the hottest music of the old school, as well as the new music, they tend to call it steam.
Steamy.
So it's old school united, the hottest music of the old school united with the hottest music of the
Of the
new
new
school.
school.
Retro
Alright.
steam.
Alright, so.
Yes.
Right, so we'll see you there. Remember, it's not my radio, but your radio, youth-oriented radio. And of course, we are live from the Oropoon Police Youth Club.
Na 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 na, na 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 na. Shut up, don't say a word. Don't wanna tell me you love me. 'Cause all the while I was giving my heart to you, you gave my love away. Backed up and walked out, you left me so lonely. Yeah. But life too short to live a lie. And so I choose to smile. Take a little wine tonight. Shooting for the stars, I'm floating on the night. This music got me high. I'm celebrating life tonight. Soca music came and set me free, girl. I'm over you. Soca music got me bubbling, I just can't stop. For you, take a wine with the girl, lemon and I jump up. It's so true. All aboard. Everything is alright, wants to be a good joke. Yes, we go again. Jerry K.
You know what it is. Here we go.
For the longest while we're jamming in the party, and you're waiting on me, pushing everything right back on top of me, yeah. But if you think you're gonna get away from me, you better change your mind. You're going home. You're going home with me tonight. Let me hold you, go caress my body. You got me going crazy. You turn me on, turn me on. Let me charm you, go right order on me. You got me going crazy. I'm gonna smile for them, yeah. Wave to them, yeah. Say hi to them, yeah. Then it's bye for them. I don't need to be looking sweet every time I walk in the street. Man, a good soul, man, a good soul, yeah. I don't need to follow no crowd to make my family proud. Man, a good soul, man, a good soul. I don't need to be in the middle of the bacchanal thing when all your line, when all your wine, I could shine right over here alone when I get into my zone. I could write, yeah, I could write, yeah. I don't want to be around no energy killers. I put up my walls and pillars, 'cause I only here for a good time. I not here forever. And you could call me the one that never care what nobody say. You could call me that day. You could call me the one that never care what nobody say. Call me Mr. Dante. Hey girl, you that do look good at your beat. Now who them ever unique? How them want to the same style like we? We call them for the fashion monkey. You have some beautiful tattoo, people like oh. Anyway, you want to deal out like the sun shoulder. Gonna be just like it's all in crayon. Searching, now be found, loving all these crayons. Searching, gonna be just like it's all in crayon. Searching.
Baby, when the bright lights start to fade, fire up your lighter, float on with the waves. You make me feel like, you make me feel like, you make me
Like you wanna understand, but like I don't care, endless loving when it can't expire. I will say that I never answer fire.
You know that you have the loving for me body when you hold me, and if you call me, we go. Yeah, baby, now it's a go. It's like a seed and you reap what you sow. Baby, when the bright lights start to fade, fire up your lighter, float on with the waves. You make me feel like, give me the fire, make you bring that home. Me need a locker home, me need my love.
Yeah, 100% getting on.
To Jerry K.
Baby, when the bright lights start to fade, fire up your lighter, float on with the waves.
Is them gala, then sit down. Be a pretty big 6K quality. If she cannot, no be damage. Airplane, pull it like a pin. Be a gal, yeah man. Pull it a rook out like a tin. So my sharp like a drill. No racial preference. Every gal a queen. Yeah man, I east side. East side. You know must affiliate. East side. You know must affiliate. She a work for me. I mean never pay a fee. She kiss free. East side. You know must affiliate. East side. You know must affiliate. Easy. She a work for me. I mean never pay a fee. She kiss free.
Me not for drink saka. Want a son, but if you want a daughter, link up. Come in up, Papa Master. Beat up, cast drama, cast me. I say nigga, shine a casa. Now walk with a gun up, past the water. Bubble remember me no have a drama. Me a kill a bit deep with the water.
Bubble for me, girl, bubble for me. Bubble. Take your time and bubble for me. Bubble. Pass your back with your hand on your knee. Yeah, that. Every girl want wind up them body for happy ending. She want to wind up with her knees bending. Girl a broke out, her vibes are pending. You think she pretending? The girl say she fly spaceship, cause she astronaut. She want go her ear just to sit down and talk. She want little bit of this and little bit of that. And you know she not ask too much. Life I party, money enough so we hype out brawling. She want what? But that's kinda nasty. Wrong heart, that's like my party. No like I feel like them a darkness. Dog and my money smells so I know me. All I'm a gal, them a Barbie, no pull up for now. Bring a friend from charge it. If they ask me, this money sent for your fuck. Like prophecy, cause I'm from a talkie. I move, make a cassie. Nah, ask me, cause if they ask me, tell it that brawling be a move. Kill a Josh, I know it's a bit with the talking. My up it, my up it, my up it.
I love my favorite. Without late no song, she knows that I'm not taking Hosanna, she call me the Godfather. Full of wave like a bandana. Anything when my drop can't get up back. Me tell it down flat. I love my favorite. Don't no without latex. She knows that I'm not taking. Oh, the body like a spin and a fit out shot. It's a reason, I pick out bad. Girls them me at go that. Girl you tight like a tin flat. Hosanna, she call me the Godfather. Full of wave like a bandana. Anything when my drop can't get up back.
You miss pretty, oh this pretty. I know say she cock up and broad. You miss pretty, oh this pretty. When she scream and cock up and bad. You miss pretty, oh this pretty. I know say she cock up and broad. You miss pretty, oh this pretty. When she scream and cock up and bad.
One girl every day. One girl every day. Say me name and me magically appear. You go much the bump for the way you're here. Check me IG. Me too clean, yeah. Check my hygiene. Tell her some sweet like me walk with ice cream. But her attitude think like she walk with Tylee. Weird. Galang girl. When you're under your galang bad. Pan top of me. The balance fun. You fat up. Jang balance. Me feel it buff, she need it. Me need it too. Yeah, I wonder if I sunny.
Ask the building, we bought from street 5 stairs. That a girl that gets such a feel, but then she no mermaid. New, come with kitten and a first aid. Not nice. We are bought from Clarks and Bali and daddy shirt them. Cologne no phone, but call your girlfriend. And my jeans would chop off, no go head. Hey, Homestead. Boop. So we turn up a weekend. A million and up a G spend. Mama, me love your neatness. Bubble till it tougher than a 33 10. Yo. So we burn up a weekend. So we turn up a weekend. But please grab a day in the weed. Them boy you feel the cat of the girl. Mama, then you a ball. Mirror pan do all the favors of them all. Mama will love get tired every day cholesterol. Mama feel about your restaurant, yeah? Perfect. Boom your bumper like a ball. Mama be your provider, your protector, your medal. Mama your ex jealous when him see you with your gun. Mama you dash your plan B, cause the baby you fi born. That's what me want. Your body, your soul, your diamond, your gold. When I left you alone, out in the cold. If you rest assured, say me need you more.
So once again reminding you, it's not my radio, but your radio, youth-oriented radio. And we are live on YouTube from the European Police Youth Club. This was, in fact, our Men Motivational Monday session. Join us tomorrow for our Tuesday session. We are out.